Happy Friday, friends. I hope you are doing well this wonderful Friday. I'm very happy that you've joined me on yet another episode of Finance Friday. I am your host, Coach Susan. Now, one of the things I caution my clients against is overcomplicating their finances. I've actually picked up on the fact that most of us think that the more complex our finances are, the more complex our accounts are, then the more success we are going to have. And nothing could be further from the truth. Believe me, one of the ways to fail financially is to overcomplicate your finances, to have too many bank accounts that have absolutely no purpose attached to them. And then I've also found that a lot of us believe in putting your money in very many different accounts and different money market funds because you think that's exactly how diversification is done. That's not how you diversify. The more you complicate your accounts, the more you complicate your finances, the harder it becomes. Guys, one of the things that you should always do is to absolutely fight for simplicity in your financial system. And that's exactly what I want to take you through in today's Finance Friday episode. I want to actually show you how simple a financial system can look, and this ideally is what is going to contribute to easy money management for you. So if you're interested in learning how you can simplify your finances this year, stick around. So one of the things that I have to say even before we look at what that simplified system would look like is the why. Why are we actually simplifying our finances? I always tell people that because money is a day-to-day thing, finances are a day-to-day, they're a monthly thing. One of the things that you must always ensure that you have for your financial system to work is consistency and longevity, all right? So complicated things cannot be done for a very long time. You cannot be consistent at doing something very complicated and confusing. So that's one of the reasons why we are saying simplify your financial system, simplify your accounts, simplify your savings and investments, because that's the only way you can actually remain consistent at it. Because with finances, you just have to be consistent. You have to actually automate most of these things. It has to almost at some point start running on autopilot. And that is how you maintain that longevity, that you can actually stick at something for 4 years, 5 years, 7 years. And that's how the wealthy have always made money. They have automated systems that work. And for you to have an automated system that works, your finances need to, or rather your financial system needs to be as simple as possible. So this is ideally, and this video is going to be very quick. I just want to show you a very simplified guide on what a simplified financial system would look like. And believe me, it's not as complicated as you think. So step number 1, you need to have one current bank account only. Now, I talk to so many of my clients, and when someone actually comes to my class, they're like, okay, Sawa, one of the things we do is definitely to figure out where your money is at and what your portfolio looks like. And someone is like, I have a bank account at KCB. I have one at Coop. I have another one at National Bank. Oh, then I also have this other one at Stimasako. I'm like, why in God's name do you have 4 different current or checking accounts? It honestly doesn't make sense. Most of us only will ever just need one current account or one checking account, unless you want to actually separate an income account from an expense account. But because we are talking about simplicity today, all you need is just one current bank account. And why you need one current bank account is because current bank accounts are ideally not considered savings or investments. And if you're on this channel and you're trying to give me a headache, you are the one who still has savings and investments in your current bank account. You're giving me a headache. So that's not what a current bank account is for, guys. So you only need one for transaction purposes only. Does that make sense? So just have one. If you must, guys, just have another extra one. I don't know why you would need another extra one. So let me give you a good example, guys. For me, I'm a business person, right? I have a current bank account under my name, Susan Wanjiko, and I also have a current bank account under my business name, The Legacy Hub Kenya, because you can't mix personal finances and business finances. So that's the only reason I see, or the only thing that would ideally merit or justify having more than, one current account. So please, simplify your account, stop incurring all those monthly bank charges. Kindly just have one checking account, or what we call one current bank account, for transaction purposes only. Don't do more than that. You're actually incurring a lot of costs. You're incurring a lot of you're just attracting charges on yourself, and there's absolutely no reason to attract charges. Just get a credible bank and then use that as one current bank account. Now, what exactly does a credible bank look like? Of course, a bank that has a proven track record. They've been here hopefully over 10, 15 plus years, over a decade. Number two, a bank that actually charges you as little charges and fees as possible. I know there are bank accounts that nowadays don't even charge like the monthly fee of holding your money. So look for a bank that actually has the minimal charges possible. Number three, you also want to look for a bank that offers you online banking, or at least internet banking or mobile banking, so that you can actually be able to access your finances. Like, you don't need to go to the bank and be on a queue for the entire morning just to do some simple transactions. And I'm really loving the financial inclusion currently in Kenya, for example, because most of these bank accounts that we have apps. They have mobile banking, internet banking that allows us to do even something as an RTGS transfer, or even, most of the time you'll probably just need to go in if you need to deposit a check, but most of these things are automated. So guys, you only just need one current bank account. You don't need more than that unless the other one is for business purposes. The second thing that you need in your simplified financial system is one emergency fund account. Again, you do not need 2 or 3 emergency funds, because again, you want to put all your money in, you want to ensure that your money is lumped up in one place, just so that that money is actually earning you some good interest and it's actually growing substantially. So what does an emergency fund look like? You just need, in fact, in Kenya, I always recommend a high yielding savings account, like a money market fund. Why I discourage putting your emergency fund in a bank is because, number one, let me give you a good example. Like with myself, I started funding my emergency fund around 2020 after I lost my job. That's when I started building it back up. In fact, not even building it back up, building it from scratch, because I never had one before I lost my job. And in the past, now we're in 2024. So in the past 3 solid years, I have only ever had to liquidate that account once. Now, imagine if that money was in a bank and I wasn't taking advantage of interest that I could have gotten in a money market fund, for instance. So in a bank account, I'm getting 0% in interest. However, in a money market fund, you're getting at least 9 to 10% per annum compound interest, which means that one of the things that has been helping me as I've been saving in my emergency fund and trying to grow it is that I'm also getting compound interest. My money is earning me more money, which actually has been helping me grow that emergency fund even faster. So you just need to pick one money market fund. If you're Kenyan, you can just pick one money market fund in Kenya that is credible and has a good track record, and just have that as your emergency fund. Another reason I discourage having it in a bank account is the ease of withdrawal. Now, I know that sounds like I'm contradicting myself, because an emergency fund should actually be liquid and accessible, but I actually believe that money market funds are as liquid and accessible, because you only just need to send in a withdrawal request, and within a day or 2 maximum, then the money has already been sent to your account. So assuming that there's a job loss or something has happened, then you're able to actually have that money within 2 days on the maximum. So we are avoiding to put this money in a bank account, because guys, can we be honest? Any money that is in your bank account will be spent even when there's not really an emergency. So it gives me the illusion of seriousness when I've set one specific money market fund for an emergency fund, because I know that if I'm withdrawing money from this money market fund, honestly, there's a big thing. It's a big deal. There's something really, really terrible or something very alarming that has currently happened in my life, and I actually need to withdraw money to sort it out, and there's nowhere else I could have gotten money. So if you put your emergency fund in your current bank account, you're going to spend it for any reason whatsoever. But when you actually pick a specific money market fund, and decide that this is actually for my emergencies and emergencies only. And then, of course, you go a step further and actually, I always tell people, please have a list of things that you've written down that merit a withdrawal from that account. One of the things that I actually had to do was to understand that other people's emergencies were not my emergency. So if my friend has an emergency, unfortunately, I'm not going to withdraw from my emergency fund to take care of their emergency. Another thing that I had to decide is that things like, a birthday that I forgot about, that's not an emergency, guys. That's just bad planning, right? So have a list of items that actually merit a withdrawal from that account. So we've already built 2 accounts in your simplified financial system. 1 current bank account for transaction purposes, 1 money market fund for your emergency fund. The third account that you need in your simplified financial system is another money market fund, but this time around for your sinking funds. Now, what is the difference between a sinking fund and an emergency fund? They're not the same, guys. A sinking fund is a separate account from your emergency fund where you actually save up for non-monthly expenditure and short-term projects. So we are talking about, like, let's say this year you are planning to do a building project and you need to save some money. You save it in a sinking fund. Let's assume you want to start accumulating money for your child's education or your children's school fees this year, then that money is saved in a sinking fund. Assuming that you need to account for birthdays, Christmas, anniversaries, travel for the family, you need to pay for car insurance, car service, medical insurance, all these things that they're non-monthly expenses, but you know for a fact at some point during the year this thing is going to come up and you want to actually start saving up for it, then a sinking fund is actually going to come in handy. So you see, separating this from your emergency fund, guys, is golden. In fact, if you don't take anything else away from this video today, please take this with you. Your emergency fund and your sinking fund being separate will save your life, because most of us withdraw from our emergency funds because of sinking fund costs. And sinking fund costs like buying, replenishing your wardrobe for your children or your own personal wardrobe or buying a new laptop or a phone. None of those things are an emergency, guys. All of these things are things that we can save up for as long as we've done proper planning of our finances and we've preempted early enough what we need to do. In fact, that's one of the things that I did towards the end of last year, 2023. I actually sat down and I and asked myself, what do I want to do in 2024 that requires money? And I listed all of those things down. Yeah, even if it is getting your eyebrows microbladed and you know it's going to cost you 25,000, just put it there. If you know you want to climb Mount Kenya and it's going to cost you 40,000, please put it there. If you know you want to buy a wig for 85,000, there's absolutely nothing that cannot make it to your sinking fund. However, the goal, remember here, is we've simplified your portfolio to something that is actually practical and workable, and we're not mixing money for your emergency fund with money for luxuries, because, guys, your emergency fund is your source of dignity when nothing else makes sense. So that needs to be held in high regard. So far, in our simple financial system, we have 1 current bank account, 1 money market fund for your emergency fund, and another money market fund for your sinking fund. The 4th account that you need in your simplified financial system is 1 investment for the medium-term time horizon. So you have your current bank account, okay? You have your emergency fund and you have your sinking fund. From this particular point, people usually wonder, so what should I do? Should I do bonds? Should I do stocks? Should I buy land? Should I build a rental? Should I start a business? And I hate to break it to you guys, but there's no such thing as a blanket investment that I can tell you that, you know, this is something that you must do or should work for you. What I'm just trying to say is that for your 4th account, you might want to consider an investment for the medium term. So, for example, medium term can be anything between 4 to 7 years, even up to 10 years. So you're looking at an investment that you can actually start working on or start building that could either increase your wealth or even start giving you passive income in the medium term. And an excellent choice for this would ideally be any other investment that is not a money market fund. So we are talking about things like mutual funds, and we have quite a number of them here in Kenya. We are looking at some unit trust investments like the balanced fund or the equity fund or even the bond fund. We are also looking at the treasury bonds that are a bit more medium, and now the government has actually been rolling out quite a number of those. A bond for 4 years, 6 years, 7 years. That's also a very good medium-term investment. You might also want to look at some, let's say, real estate investment trust, or if you actually have the capital to do a real estate investment. I don't mean buying idle land. Guys, buying idle land is not an investment. And I know some of you will come for me for this, but I'm going to come at you back, okay? Idle land that is not going to make you money or you're not going to develop in the near future. Please, you're better off actually using that money to maybe earn you passive income in a bond as opposed to leaving it idle. But if you do have the capital enough to make a real estate investment that can start either earning you income or save you money in terms of rent, because if you build and you move into your house, then you've saved on what it is that you've been paying on rent. So that's okay. So consider just one medium-term investment. Stop trying to invest in everything at a go. It's one of the reasons why our paychecks are under pressure. We are under pressure. We cannot even afford medical insurance, but we have high blood pressure. Please, again, it's never that serious. As long as you already have your emergency fund and your sinking fund, you're already doing better than 50% of Kenyans. So now all you have to do is just figure out what is a good investment I can do for the medium term, okay? Why medium term? Because in the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be a lot of changes. And one of the tips that I use is to actually do what I call goal-based investing. So if in the next 5 to 10 years, I'm envisioning myself as a parent, and I know my children are probably going to be in school, I'm definitely looking for an investment that would make it easier to raise these children financially, or an investment that is actually going to make the school fees experience a bit easier for me. And that's something I've already done. Obviously, hopefully, God willing, in the next 5 to 10 years, I'm already going to be a parent. Kids are going to be smack in the middle of school. So one of the investments that I've actually made is a dollar bond investment that actually is going to just help me grow my capital and still earn me passive income as I'm preparing to, become a parent and stuff like that. So your medium-term goals, if you really, really want to pick a very, very good investment, pick an investment that is a goal-based investment. Look at one of your biggest life milestones or your biggest life goals in the next maybe 5 to 12 years. And then once you figured out what that goal is, ask yourself, which investment would actually help me achieve this goal? Then choose that investment for your medium-term account. Just one, okay? Start with one. The last account that you need in your simplified financial system is one investment for the long term. Now, up until this point, guys, let me just recap it for you. You know, I'm your coach, I'm a teacher, I can't help it. So we've done one current bank account for transactional purposes, one emergency fund in a money market fund, one sinking fund in another separate money market fund. We've picked one investment for the medium term. And now finally, you just need another one investment for the long term. An amazing investment for this is your retirement account, or what we call your pension account. Guys, I've talked about retirement, especially in 2023. I was raving about retirement planning because the numbers are not funny. They're very, very scary. A lot of us who are currently having very luxurious and, we are at the prime of our careers. Sadly, if we are not very careful, we are actually going to retire poor. And in case you forgot or you didn't catch up on those videos, I'm actually going to link a video down below that I did in 2023 to just talk to you guys about what the numbers are looking like and how you can actually plan for retirement. So this is actually one of the best recommendations that I can give for a long-term investment, so that you can actually, as you're taking care of your short-term and medium-term, you're not forgetting to take care of yourself when you will be the most vulnerable, when you're no longer employable, pensionable, or even strong enough to compete with now the new blood in the market. You need to be taken care of financially, health-wise, and even just to live in dignity, even when you're in your 70s and your 80s. And this is why retirement planning and having an investment going towards ensuring that even without a source of income, there's gonna be cash flow coming in is very, very important. So guys, as you can see, it becomes very easy to actually create a very simplified financial system. So if we are looking at this person has 5 accounts, and these 5 accounts, or these 5 financial assets have a purpose attached to them. You don't have 7 different money market funds for no good reason. You don't have 5 different bank accounts for no good reasons. We've simplified it to 5 accounts: a current bank account, an emergency fund, a sinking fund, 1 medium-term investment, and 1 long-term investment. Guys, this is one of the reasons. In fact, sometimes when I'm talking to my clients, I show them or I tell them where my money is invested or how my portfolio looks like, they're very surprised. They're like, "Coach, I thought you're doing, big stuff." And I'm like, listen, guys, finances or financial success is not achieved by how complex or how scary the big words or the big financial jargon you're using. You actually become wealthy when you're just consistent. And remember, consistency is what gets you there. Because when you're consistent, you can do it for the long term, you can do it in an automated manner, and you can actually stick with it for the long haul. One of the things I like to tell my clients is that a good investment portfolio that will actually help you build wealth, and one that is sustainable, is a very boring portfolio. Like, I'm pretty sure someone has already listened to where we are up until this point, and they're like, "Oh my God, you've not even told me about Forex or about cryptocurrency. You've not even talked about Mansa X Fund." All of these things. But I keep telling people, guys, that the most important thing to learn is sustainability when it comes to your finances. And something sustainable is something very simple, something very practical. And again, I will tell you guys, one of the most sustainable ways to grow wealth is to have a boring portfolio, because it's something you can do even for 20 years. So I hope that you've learned something from that simplified financial system. Maybe a few parting shots. Number 1, I need to tell you guys that you can also go a step further to actually maybe like now do a bit of goal setting in terms of how much money will actually be going into this accounts. So you already have opened them, but you do not know. So from my paycheck, what percentage of my money should go where? How much should I actually deposit there? I don't really like working with percentages. I just like working with what is the goal, how much will it need, and by when do I need to get there? Therefore, you just reverse engineer that. So could you just allow me to take you through that in just the next few minutes so that you can actually see what practical goal setting looks like when it comes to a simplified financial system? I just want you to see, if you already have these accounts but you don't know how much money or what percentage you should use, then let me just take you briefly through how you can actually do goal setting for how much you should put into this account every month or every quarter. So let's look at that briefly. So let's talk about goal setting and how you can actually set goals around like your short-term projects, your medium-term and long-term projects. And I'm going to be using my legacy budget tracking tool to just show you this example. Now, short-term projects or sinking funds are anything you want to do in the next 12 months. So if I was trying to come up with goals or sinking fund goals, the question that I would ask myself is, what would I like to do in 2024 that requires money? So I've just written some examples here, or just highlighted some examples that we can work with, just so that you guys can see how to come up with this. So the question we are asking is, what would I like to do in 2024 that requires money? So for this person, they need 60,000 in school fees, 5,000 for birthdays, 34,000 for home improvements. Let's say this is a fridge. You want to be as specific as possible. Maybe car insurance is 80,000. Wardrobe needs, maybe you spend let's say 6,000 per quarter, and you're gonna maybe buy 4 times. There are people who have to buy clothes either because they have children who are
experiencing a growth spurt, or maybe in your nature of work, you need to always look nice. Maybe you also have travel plans for, you want to go to Diani with your family at the end of the year. Maybe you want to get your eyebrows microbladed and you're spending that much. Maybe you spend 10,000 on skincare every quarter. So for the whole year, you know you need that much. And maybe you're like me and you need to buy cooking pots. So you have this much. So this is a good example of what short-term projects for the year 2024 would ideally look like. Now, I want to just show you a very, very easy way to go about it. Obviously, the first step is to figure out exactly how much money do I need for this whole year, for my projects for the whole year. So if you add that up, for this person, it's coming up to 454,000. Now, let's assume now we are already in February, or January is coming to an end. So we probably just have 11 months left. And for this person, the question would be, okay, if I want to achieve all of these things in the year 2024, and I had an account, a sinking fund or a money market fund that's specifically dedicated for my lifestyle needs. So this is ideally what we are calling a 12 months. Let me even just edit that to lifestyle sinking fund. All right, so maybe you have this money market fund and you want to know exactly how much money you should save up so that you can actually be able to afford this lifestyle. So I would actually take the 454 that I need for lifestyle needs and divide that by the 11 months left for this year to see exactly how much money I actually need to save in that particular sinking fund. Now, this amount here is not for any one of these specific things. It's actually a combination, because you see, these things will not all happen in February or March or even November. They are spread out throughout the year. The goal of having this amount saved up every month is to ensure that as and when these issues come up, these sinking fund projects come up, you have some money in that account that can actually cater to them. So as opposed to taking a higher purchase loan to buy your cooking pots, you actually save up long enough to get them. Now, if I had a personal budget that I already did and I have a place for sinking funds, then I would actually come, and you know you have your lifestyle account here, and you know you need to contribute 41, let me just confirm exactly what the figure is, 41,272. So 41,272. Now, for most people, this may be a very high amount, or it can be doable. It's up to you to examine whether you can do that. Now, if this figure is too damn high, there's something that this thing is telling you. Your tracker is telling you. Your tracker is telling you you're living above your means, or you're biting more than you can chew. So you can decide. So let me give you a good example. Maybe this person decides, maybe this is not the year to do travel unless I get like additional income. We can just decide to stay home, and they maybe get rid of this 150 and decide that they're no longer going to travel. Now, as you can see, the monthly savings target has significantly reduced, and maybe for this person, this is probably enough or doable for them. So they come and edit to 27 instead, 27,636. So you see, you've actually set goals around your short-term projects. And this is the same way you can even do for your long-term or medium-term projects. Let me pick one of them. For instance, building a 6 months emergency fund. Now, I'm going to use an example of this person's budget, for instance. Let's go back to their monthly budget. You can see that they have a net salary of 100,000, and they also have a side hustle or a business income of 115. So in total, they actually earn 115,000. A simple way to come up with an emergency fund target is to save. So for 6 months worth of an emergency fund, you want to raise 6 months worth of how much money you make every month. So for this person, they make 115,000 every month. So for them to actually have a 6 months emergency fund, then they need 690,000. Now, this money cannot be raised overnight. In fact, a lot of us like to be ambitious and say, I'm going to raise this in 12 months. Now, look at that. If I want to raise 690,000 in the next 12 months, I would need to contribute 57,000 every month, and sometimes that is not reasonable, which is why your emergency fund falls under medium-term projects. And for your medium-term projects, we are talking maybe the next 2 to 5 years. Okay, and then of course for your long-term projects, we are talking 5+ years. Okay, so anything 5 years and above, that could be 10 years, even could even be 12 years. So again, a more realistic goal, like for me, took me around 4 years to build my first 6 months emergency fund. So 4 years is 48 months. Now look at how practical that has now become. So for someone to raise 690,000 in the next 48 months, then the monthly savings target becomes around 14,000. So you can come onto your budget tracker right here and set a goal for contributing 14,000, or you can even round it off to 15,000 every month if you'd like to achieve your goal. So guys, this is just a very simple example of how financial goal setting is done. You don't just wake up one day and decide I'm gonna save 5,000 or 10,000. You have to break down exactly what is needed, what are the amounts, what's the timeline, and therefore what is the monthly savings target. And even for your long-term goals, you want to do the same. Again, if you have if you have a project that you want to work on, maybe something as intense as home ownership, so you come and just indicate home ownership there, and maybe you just want to build a house that will cost you maybe 6 million, and you want to do it in the next let's say even 7 years. So 7 years, we are working with around, let's see how many months that is, 84 months. Okay, so you're working with 84 months, and if you'd like to know exactly how much money you need to save every month to hit your goal in the next 7 years, then that's around an equivalent of 71,000 every month going towards savings if you'd like to actually do this project cash without taking any loan facilities. So this was just an example of how you can set goals. Please let me know, guys, in the comment section if you've understood, or if this has made it clear how you can do goal setting around your short-term, medium-term, and long-term projects. If you would like to use this tool, it has a monthly budget planner. It has your annual tracker right here that you can use to track how you're doing with all these spending categories throughout the year. We have your short-term projects right here, your medium-term and long-term projects, and so much more, like tracking your net worth and even your debt repayments. Please get it. I'm gonna link it in the description box down below. This tool or this budgeting tracker is only 750 Kenya shillings only. If you don't already have it, you need to grab this. It's such an amazing tool to help you with financial goal setting. So click the link in the description box. I'm gonna link it down below, and please get it and start using it for your goal setting.
So as you guys have seen, it doesn't have to be complicated, complex, and mind-boggling for you to actually set up a simplified financial system and to even go an extra mile to set goals for these accounts that you've actually opened. So I really hope that that example was helpful for you, that you've actually seen it practically, and I hope that you can settle down at home and actually get that done for yourself. If you would like to access the template that I just used to show you the previous example, I'm going to link it down below. It is my legacy budget tracking template. It has quite a bit in it. So just if you'd like to access it, it's only 750 shillings, Kenya shillings only. So I'm gonna link it in the description box down below. Remember what we do on this channel? We don't get keep. So please share this video with your friends and family so that they can stay financially woke in 2024. Again, turn on the notification bell and subscribe to this channel so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. It's been such a pleasure taking you guys through today's episode. I'm gonna see you on the next one.